Hey guys, it's Ghost Queen. I'm making a quick video today. Oh my god, I'm a mess. I got on the Patriots hat, too big for me, but I haven't done my hair yet. Got on the Boston Bruins shirt, smoking a cigarette today. What are you gonna do? Okay, so I'm gonna be talking about a lot of different things. I'm a thinker. So I have Asperger's, which means I tend to perseverate on things at times. When I have things that interest me or when something provokes my thought, I tend to think about it quite a lot. So one of the things that people with Asperger's do tend to do is when they're interested in something, a particular subject, they tend to research it and learn about it to its fullest extent. And I've done this with many subjects. So I've talked about in the past also how I'm a victim of domestic abuse, and this is a subject I'm very thoroughly versed in. It's funny, I've met a lot of people actually who claim to work with people who are victims of abuse, who maybe aren't even as knowledgeable as I am on the subject. But in talking about path work, I'm veering off the subject a little bit, but forgive me, I'm also ADD. One of the things, well, a few of the things that I'm going to be discussing are intent, words, language, communication. These are all really important subjects to me, and I believe important subjects to pathworking. So, someone said something to me recently, and it really just, I don't know, it stuck in my craw. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I'm a listener. I listen to people, I listen to the things that they say, and I take them quite seriously. And I tend to think about the things that people say to me. Now, words are powerful, and the intent of words is powerful. And you'll find a lot of people who tend to use words as a weapon. Especially people who claim to be in, a helping or healing type of profession. I don't know. I feel like these sorts of people specifically should use their words very carefully, should choose their words very carefully, and perhaps should think about what they say before they say it. People are reactionary, and they tend to not really give a lot of thought sometimes to the things that they say, and they probably should more often. And I do think people need to really consider their words and try not so much to use their words as a weapon. And, unless that's the intent. And it often is. Oftentimes people will actually say something as a means to convey advice, guidance, helpfulness, but really it's a veiled insult. So, words can be used so manipulatively. But here's the particular word that was used to me. And that word was grace. Now, grace, that particular word, it's so special to me, and it's such a beautiful word. It has a beautiful sound. Grace, it sounds so pretty. It happens to be the middle name of my youngest daughter, Willow. Her name is Willow Grace. She's 11 years old. Now, the woman that actually used this word to me is probably about the age of one of my older daughters. And here's the thing about youth. When you're in your 20s, even your early 30s, you really think you're wise, But usually life hasn't even had a chance to take a fucking slap at you yet. You don't know then, but you know later. Um, and I always found that the older I got, the less I was sure of and the less I knew, not more. And I guess with age comes a certain humility that youth often doesn't have. But I actually looked up the word grace since I was considering the way that it was used to me. Oh, I think I have to relight my cigarette. I'm not going to rattle off every definition of the word grace, but a few. I'm going to certainly ignore the Christian definition. So, grace, a simple elegance or refinement of movement. I don't always have that, but I believe at times I have, and I do try. Grace can also mean, as a verb, to do honor or credit to someone or something by one's presence. Now, if you think about that, that's a pretty huge word, isn't it? Because that's something pretty special. It also can mean courteous goodwill. Now, goodwill is a word I like, and I don't see a lot of that in the world. I wish I saw a little bit more of it, but I believe a lot of people do carry goodwill in their hearts. I tend to be an optimist rather than a pessimist. I tend to believe the best in people. Oftentimes, I see the worst in people. But you know, I just can't give up hope. You know, I remember speaking to Lundy Bancroft on the phone. Lundy's an author of at least two that I've read many times. Very excellent books on domestic abuse. And when I was married to my second husband, and I was struggling because I was trying to get him to go to an abuse program, out of frustration, I called Lundy, who happened to live in the same town as I did, and we spoke on the phone for probably about an hour. And there was one thing he said to me that really I remembered, and it stuck with me. And any woman who has been in a situation of domestic abuse, whether that's verbal, emotional, psychological, physical, financial, there's many different types of abuse. But women that are in abusive situations, Lundy said to me, oftentimes they hold on to just a shred of hope. Hope that the person will change. And this so rang true to me because I was in exactly that situation. I was holding on to hope that somehow I could get through to my husband, and I had a shred of hope that he would change because we had 2 children together. We had a special needs child that was very difficult, and I was very fearful of, trying to do it all on my own. So I held on to hope. I didn't want to break up another family. I had been divorced once already, had raised 2 children on my own once already from an abusive partner. Physical abuse with both my marriages. My second husband once tried to choke me to death in front of my 2 older daughters. There was lots of physical abuse. I had 2 miscarriages directly related to abuse. So when someone discounts abuse that you've been through, it's very demeaning, really, really demeaning. And it kind of dredges up old shame for you. trying to convince people or prove that you've been abused it's a really humiliating experience. But at any rate, I digress. So Lundy told me that most women who are in abusive relationships stay in the relationship because they cling on to a shred of hope that there will be change. And oftentimes this can go on for years, maybe their whole lives. But he told me, in all honesty, that very few abusive men change. That this is an empty hope. And it was that one small conversation that convinced me to leave my marriage. So, yeah, words are important. Conversations matter. The things we say to people have weight. Intent has weight. Words have weight. Power, even. And I will be talking more about the power of intent, the power of words, the power of language, of conversation, names, etc. And this is just a little start, just a little taste, some of my musings on a Sunday morning. I hope everybody's having a good weekend. Love you guys. Can't wait to chat more. And seize the day. Bye, guys.